And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's Lakers Postgame, everyone. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, where we cover the latest news and trends in pop culture each and every week, twice a week, wherever you get your podcasts. Inside Sports, Fantasy Football. Go ahead and check out what Joe, Chris Sardieri, and I are talking about for Week 12 in the NFL. There's also what's going on with the Steelers, who didn't look good tonight in the snow. Talking about that on Inside Sports Fantasy Football. Also, as well, of course, our good friends at Lakerholics. You know, Laker Tom is not a happy man right now, and Jamie Sweet, he is lapping it up as far as Mr. Admiral Akbar because the Lakers fell right into the trap Orlando gave them tonight. And the fact is that you can catch what's going on with those guys at Lakerholics.com. John Costa's Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. Hopefully he'll be here tonight. Send him out the link. Hopefully Joe Soro will be as well. Maybe even Empire Jeff. We'll see. Thanks so much for joining us and stopping by our playback.tv/Lakers Fast Break live coverage. Speaking of Empire Jeff, follow him. Of course, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. Also as well, of course, Lakers in 5. And of course, John McKaylian channel. All these great places, including Alfred Esmond at Alfred Esmond on Twitter. Legend. His channels as well. Of course, Stone Hansen. He'll be on tomorrow because we're going to have lunch with Stone Hansen. Go ahead and check that out today. Or I check that out tomorrow right here on the Lakers Fast Break. And speaking of Lakers Fast Break, go ahead and like and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. We're so close to 2,000 subscribers. Help us out. I truly appreciate it if you do. And don't forget, just $2.99 a month, you can become a member today. Get emojis, badges, whole bunch of good stuff, including videos you get to see first on occasion, right there for you, for just $2.99 a month, right here as part of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. Well, the Lakers came in tonight riding high on a 6-game winning streak. They were riding high, looking for even more good news as far as undefeated home winning streak as well. Everything it all lined for a good win tonight against the Orlando Magic without Banchero, without KCP, without Wendell Carter Jr. coming off a back-to-back loss at the Clippers. Everything looked like it was going to line itself for a good game tonight for the Lakers. But unfortunately, something happened along the way to this good game, and that was the Magic hitting threes. He had 15 out of 40, 37.5%, but it was also the rebounding. Offensive rebounding absolutely killed the Lakers. Orlando, 48-36 overall on the rebounding, including also as well 15 offensive rebounds. But still, the Lakers overcame that and pulled out to a 7-point lead halfway through the fourth quarter. But Austin Reeves missed 2 free throws. Then Anthony Davis, the guy who we were talking about as an MVP down the stretch, missed 3 free throws. The Lakers, 65% at the free throw line. That's probably the biggest stat of most concern, as the Lakers, unfortunately, because of that, left the door open for a last-second 3 from Franz Wagner, who had a sensational game himself, 37 points for him. For AD, it was 39 points for him in a loss as the Lakers lose 119-118 on a last-second shot by Franz Wagner. And here today to go ahead and talk about today's game. It's a good man indeed. Of course, I want to go ahead and talk about what's going on with the Orlando Magic and the Los Angeles Lakers. It is, of course, Alfred Esmond. Alfred, good to have you here at Alfred Esmond on Twitter. DBSH says, tell JJ to have a meeting about missed free throws. They left it out on the table. They left it all out on the table. They had the opportunity to close the door, Alfred. And because of those missed free throws, because of those terrible defensive rebounding and giving up so many offensive rebounds, they left the door open for a team that we talked about couldn't find the range for a lot as far as offensively for the most part heading into today's game, but they found it today. And Franz Wagner, who we said has been stepping up, we talked about on the pregame, he's been stepping up, and he did. He stepped up big time today for the victory. at the cost of the Lakers.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me for the pre and post game. First of all, great game all around. Really great game. That building sounded very loud. I would have loved to be there. And yeah, I mean, you know, a team without Paulo Banchero, without Wendell Carter and Contavious Caldwell Pope goes out there and gets a huge win on the second night of a back to back. And that last shot, it seemed like down the stretch for Franz in that fourth quarter, the offense was him. It really was just, him getting all the shots off, it seemed like, for the most part, and him being the one taking the ball up the floor and creating. And, it seemed like Orlando was leaning too much that way. But yeah, those free throws were tough. And even I was sitting here watching it and I was like, well, I don't know if it's going to matter because the Lakers know who's going to have the ball when the Magic get it back. And it would be Franz, and he got it and drained a crazy shot, rainbow shot to end the game. An incredible night. I would say probably I'd have to go back to make sure, but probably his best night of the season. 37 points, 11 assists, a double-double, 6 rebounds, 4 of 10 from 3, 13 for 26 from the field overall. It was huge and massive, and the Magic finally found their stroke a little bit from 3, and that ultimately kept them in the game for the most part. And who would have thought on the second night of a back-to-back they would have enough to win like this against a team that was unbeaten at home on a win streak. Great game from them, and great game overall between the two teams. That was super fun to watch. Best game I've watched so far this NBA season, hands down.
Also here today is Good Man Indeed. He is Oxide247 at LakersBall.com and also Simblades with a Y.com. And I want to give everyone an update on his game, Corrupt, COREUPT, on Steam. You're going to need to wish list it for a little while longer because he got the word. It's actually been delayed to Steam Day, Steam Sale Day next Wednesday. It is Joe Soro. And Joe, good to have you here. Tough loss all the way around. Steelers losing in the snow. And it snowed a 3 at the very last second for the Lakers. But again, that's their fault. They put this on themselves. They missed the free throws. This reminds me of a couple seasons ago when Anthony Davis was missing free throws down the stretch. But Austin Reeves missed 2 as well, and LeBron missed 1 as well. Just they had the door ready to close and just didn't do it, Joe. Their offensive rebounding and defense at times was also poor as well.
Yeah, strategy and results, sometimes it's simple. We can blame 100 things in a 48-minute game, but the reason why the ending matters is because when you have free points ready for you and you don't convert, this is the result. If AD makes 2 out of those 3 he missed, this game's over.
And it's so funny, though, Joe, when you see Juan, a lot of people are saying that in the chat now. Now that we have Dalton, and thank you for the super chat, truly appreciate Juan. Reeves has to go.
I would take it easy with.
Well, hold on. Does the word yesterday's news mean anything to you on that one, Joe?
Take it easy. Everyone take it easy. AR is not going anywhere unless they're getting a bona fide third guy, which there's no one out there. It's when you're a big-time player, you get the big-time credit and the big-time GOATs. And GOAT used to mean negative for the longest time until the acronym took over. GOAT, as in, I remember the first time I heard the word GOAT was Mitch Williams serving Joe Carter the eventual game-winning home run against the Phillies in the 1993 World Series when Toronto won back-to-back titles. Sometimes you got to keep things simple. There's a 82 game season for all these teams. There's not going to be AR is not Michael Jordan. He's not Karl Malone. He's not Magic. He's not LeBron. This guy's not going to be doing things that you want him to do every game. That's not how it works. This game was lost at the free throw line with less than a minute left. And if you can't come to grips with that, then you're not watching the game enough. You could always go back and say, oh, if they had made the free throw at 9:18 in the third quarter, sure. But that didn't matter at that moment. At that moment, they were fouling on purpose because they had no choice. They had to foul. You make those shots, you win the game, and that's as simple as it gets. And this is not the first time. It's not the second time. AD's rear tightens. LeBron's rear tightens in these moments. It's happened. LeBron missed one. AD missed three. You can blame AR too for missing his two, but see, he made up for it on the other side not too long after that.
He got that offensive foul.
Right. And then also he had a really good offensive rebound. So you have to pay attention to the game, guys. And I don't know what the deal is with this AR hate. Is this now a thing? It's the first time I've heard of it.
The guy has this first bad game in a while, and already they want him out the door.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. You guys are clowns. And that's not even the word I wanted to use. You're dumbasses. AD makes those free throws, this game is over. It's that simple. And he didn't, and they lost, and you're all going to have to live with it.
Also here today, good man indeed. It is, of course, the man behind Clutch Talk and Lakers Corner. It is, of course, John Costa. John. I don't think name calling our crowd. I think we can just leave to Joe for now. But if you want to go ahead, by all means, it's up to you. But again, the Lakers didn't get it done down in the clutch when they needed to the most. AD missing those free throws, not executing well. That last play drew up. It was just not a good play drawn up. And then, Franz hit the shot he needed to. I mean, Reddish was there. Reddish contested. He might have been a little bit closer if he needed to, but then you probably would have fouled him. So your thoughts on tonight's game? Again, they didn't get it done down the stretch, and that's what mattered.
Yeah, exactly. And everybody, what's going on? Everybody in the chat, what's up, man? Appreciate everybody showing love. But honestly, Gerald, I think the way that Joe broke it down is so elegantly. I think that there was a lot that went wrong in this Lakers game. Right? I mean, another stinker from D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves. He has a down game. LeBron misses the free throws, but I think essentially, like what this game boils down to and where we lost this game was absolutely at with those free throws with AD. Now, with that being said, I don't know if you guys have ever heard the term of good defense but better offense, and that's kind of sometimes how I felt with Franz today. Because yes, there was times where he was just attacking us, and maybe we didn't have the best, maybe even on ball or help side defense. But that last shot that he hit, Cam realistically had some good defense on that. I mean, you just said it, Gerald. I mean, he could. You can always be up a little closer, but you don't want to risk being in his landing area, and then now he's going to the line for 3 guaranteed ones for the game. So I think that was good, some solid defense, but he hits it. And then if you look at his numbers for the night, 40% from the 3-point line. They shot almost 40% from the 3-point line as a team. Come on. Hey, you know what? I don't believe in basketball gods. I believe there's only one God, and now in my opinion, the one God allowed them to just hit threes. They said it on the broadcast. This team doesn't even really shoot them in threes. Tonight, 40%, almost 40% from the 3-point line. Franz himself, 4 of 10. I know he's been balling since Paul's been out, but come on, man. Good defense, better offense. Don't cry. Let's not cry over this game, and we know we need to work on, man. Bill, what's up, everybody?
Alfred, I'll bring it back to you. Once again, it is the Lakers losing 119-118. They fall to 10-5 on the season. They're falling down to 4th place in the Western Conference. Alfred, I want to ask you this. One of the things I noticed during the game, obviously, is the rebounding margin. When you're The Lakers is on the worst side, is 36 for them, 48 for the Magic, and 15 offensive rebounds for the Magic. When your team as offensively challenged which is the Magic at times, and you can see they struggle at times from shooting three. They got in parts where they were just hard for them to manufacture buckets. The thing you've got to do is get second chances. And that's one thing when you're really, really not that great at offense, you got to go ahead and manufacture points wherever you can, and getting second chances and second looks at the basket really helps.
Yeah, it does. That's huge, especially on the road going out there and rebounding like that. You got to shout out the big men for the Magic tonight for doing that. I mean, I look Goga Batadze with 15 boards total, 4 offensive boards for him, and then you had Mo Wagner who had an incredible night. He needs to be talked about a little bit for the night he had. 19 points, and he brought in 4 offensive rebounds himself. It's a tall task, going up against Anthony Davis like that. For Goga and Mo, and they were able to come in and really hold their own down there in the paint for a lot of it, and that kept the offense kind of swirling and going a little bit still. So that was huge. And again, Goga didn't have this explosive scoring night by any means. He only had 7 points, but I think his presence rebounding was just massive. And he was physical with AD and LeBron. I watched him throughout the game with both of them, and massive. It's kind of like, it's very impressive too. Like I said, I think I'm just going to be saying this a lot, but it's very impressive too on the second night of a back-to-back where both of them played, that they did that again against the kind of guy Anthony Davis is. So that really was huge, and another underrated part of this game if you dive deep into it and actually watched it.
Joe, let me bring it back to you, my friend. The Lakers bench, once again, not too much of help for the Lakers. 14 points overall. D'Angelo Russell, terrible shooting game. 7 points, 6 assists. Only 3 of 10 overall, and 1 of 7 from 3. Christian Coloco, just 2 free throws. Max Christie, 5 points. Gabe Vincent, again, giving you a goose egg. Another goose egg for him. This is, I don't know. I really honestly don't want to look back at how many he's gotten over the course of this season, because it's just been ugly. 14 minutes, Joe. He, just like you said before about another player, he's just running up and down the court getting cardio, because it just is absolutely insane how we continually let this guy out there and are finding no other alternative for the Lakers. With Dalton Connect, another good performance, 17 points for him. JJ said before the game, when Rui comes back, most likely Dalton is heading for the bench. I'm not sure I'm loving that, but I can see why they need some kind of offense coming off the bench, simply because of the fact that they're so inept, especially when Gabe's in the game, Joe. Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. It's 4-0. 4 donuts that he's had so far this season.
I think at this point there needs to be a decision made on Gabe. I've never seen a player that's supposed to be good, relatively, playing this bad. He has no wherewithal on anything. I don't even know. This kind of, the first thought I had was like Chuck Knobloch back in the day when he couldn't throw the ball from the shortstop position to the first baseman. Like, what is this guy's brain fried from something? I don't understand how you can't contribute at least a couple baskets a game. Get Olivari in there. I think Olivari can get at least 1 score in there. Max Christie, as bad as he is, at least he's doing something. And as far as D'Angelo Russell, oh, man. We saw a switch last year after the turn of the year. I guess we're going to have to wait to see if that happens again. But, geez, man, you know how much easier this team could operate if that damn guy could just make a shot like he's capable of? The guy broke the damn Laker record for threes last year. What happened? Why can't you just do what you were doing then? What changed? You're not in your 18th season. You're still in your prime. So I don't know what's going on. And you could JJ Redick, God, whoever. That doesn't look like that's going to fix anything. These guys are just not about it. And it is causing a little bit of a problem because this kind of game, if those guys are contributing to what they're supposed to be, this is not a 1-point game with 10 seconds left. It's probably an 8-point game and you're wrapping it up. That's the difference. And until they can get that kind of performance from these guys, the Lakers are going to have to rely on Anthony Davis and LeBron James to do what they're doing. And I'm not trying to make an excuse for AD because I think it is mental. I don't think it's fatigue, but maybe that does play a factor in it too. The fact that he's busting his ass, doing what he's doing, and then he's just running out of gas at the end. It might be that. I'm not going to use that as an excuse, though. I think it's mental, but it could be a little bit at the very least. And this is something I don't know if they can fix. We're going to have to wait. This was a bad loss. This is a bad loss because it does so many destructive things to the current situation. You lose your winning streak. You lose your unbeaten streak at home. And then you got to play Denver next. And Denver, if they beat you, now you're on a losing streak. This Denver loss, if it's a loss, hurts more now because you lost this one, especially since you should have won it. But let's see if it's something that kind of inspires them for the next game. And if they beat Denver, you guys know how I am. Every loss sucks, and I'll be in that mindset of like, man, if they had just beaten Orlando, we'd be on a 8-game winning streak. I won't be appreciative of the win. This is how it is when you're a sports fan sometimes.
John, let me bring it back to you, my friend. When it comes right down to it, another disappointing performance from D'Lo. I don't know what's going on. Again, he might turn it on, like he did last year at the turn of the calendar. But right now, it's really looking bad for him. He is supposed to be anchoring that second unit. He is trying to salvage his career and his future. And right now, he's not doing a damn good job of it, and to say the least. It's embarrassing because the fact is him going back to the bench was supposed to increase the volume, increase the scoring, increase the output from the bench. And unfortunately, we're not seeing that at all.
Yeah, Gerald. I'm going to be honest with you. D'Angelo Russell, this right here is a career year in his career. That was a funny sentence. This is a career year in his career. This is such a vital point because I think that last year, we keep saying at the turn of he had that turn at that point of the season. I feel like, yeah, sure, there was a point in the season, but what it really was the whole world was talking about he might be out the door. And for whatever reason, D'Angelo Russell loves playing in LA. I don't know, maybe it's the off-court activities. I don't know what it is, but he loves playing in LA. He didn't want to leave. He started balling. And that's the kind of balling we need from him. But besides that, I mean, I've said this, and I'm going to continue to say this as the D'Lo, fan club president crowned by Gerald. I'll say this. You got to take the good with the bad with this man because, again, I am totally with trading him. But who are we getting back? Because if it's not going to be that point guard who's going to be able to initiate the offense and be able to help Bron so that Bron doesn't have to do that, doesn't have to have that heavy load so that Bron can run the lane, so that AD can get easy post-injury passes, so he can get easy finishes at the hoop, so Hayes can give easy finishes when we're going. Unless we're getting a guard that can do that, like D'Angelo Russell, I don't think it's worth it, in my opinion. We can go get it. We can go get a defensive stopper right now. That would be great. But if now we're risking more injury to Bron, and I think we're handicapping our offense even more. So essentially, you have to take the good with the bad with him. And you know what? Beggars can't be choosers, man. That's how I feel.
Right now, it's a whole lot of bad. And when you're not even defending him, that's hard. That's really hard for the guy. But It is what it is. Alfred, let me bring it back to you. When it comes right down to it, Orlando, they stayed in it. Again, talked about Jamal Mosley being one of the best coaches in the league, and obviously he had a better game plan tonight than JJ, and down the stretch pushed all the right buttons in order to get the victory. But one button he did push at times was Jonathan Isaacs. It was asked in the chat exactly your thoughts on him coming back from those severe knee injuries. He is still rough and probably will always be rough on the offensive end, as we saw. But there's probably only 4-5 players, I think, in the league that can play elite defense like Jonathan Isaac.
Yeah, Mosley's gotten used to subbing him in certain situations that are quite vital. For example, yeah, he was put in. It was like in the middle of the fourth quarter. LeBron had those 3 3-pointers that just felt soul crushing. I'd imagine to the Magic in that moment that were kind of causing the Lakers to separate themselves a bit. One of them was an and 1-3 because Anthony Davis got fouled under the basket. Isaac went in to kind of hold down the defensive end and. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're right. Offensively, it's nothing special. Tonight, for example, just 2 points, out of 4 shots he took. Didn't make a 3. He took 2 of those. He hasn't really been scoring that much this year either. So, I mean, his highest scoring game was 11 against the beat up 76ers. But defensively, I think it's just such a weapon to have. And I already see online, and I know Laker Tom does this too with the trade talk. He's in love with Jonathan Isaac. I'm sure you remember from our mock drafts and stuff. I just think he's such an asset that Orlando can't afford to give up like that. And it makes him slightly an untouchable. Plus, they just signed him to an extension back in July. Yeah. So they obviously feel obliged to keep him around for that defense. And at the end of last year, and even at points this year, they put him in a center spot, even though that's not truly what his position is, just because of the defensive presence and prowess he brings. So I was thrilled with it. He rebounded pretty well tonight. He had 6 boards tonight. That's the most he's had in a few games. He didn't really rebound that well prior to this on this West Coast road trip we had to Phoenix and LA. So more onto him. I mean, it's not the scoring that you get from Jonathan Isaac. You don't need it though. You have guys that can score on this team beyond him. I think his defense and his ability to get boards kind of keeps him as a valuable member of the team off the bench.
Joe, was a very physical game tonight. Not everything was called. The Lakers still outshot the Magic at the free throw line, 26-21, but it was very physical. Do you think that affected the Lakers to an extent?
No. Their offensive rebounding issues set the stage early. They recovered because LeBron and AD were playing out of their minds, and of course, Connect was hitting timely shots. The issue tonight was not hitting free throws. These games are going to happen in an 82-game season. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter how equipped they are. The Lakers beat the Celtics last year in Boston without AD and LeBron. This happens in the NBA. But you got to win it when it's given to you. So it doesn't matter if Banchero wasn't playing or KCP wasn't playing or Isaac can't play offense or any of that stuff. It doesn't mean anything. You had a chance to – forget about chance. You had this game. This game was over. You just have to hit your free throws. Hell, you just have to hit 1 or 2. And you're sleeping tonight with a win. You can't miss those free throws. And this game, no matter what happened before it, will always come down to those last few moments. That's the stuff that matters in the end because you're already there. Doesn't matter. It's like a play. You have actors arguing against each other. You have the director not being able to control anything. People got sick. You have to replace somebody, blah, 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 blah. Then all of a sudden you open the curtain. The play goes on. The play is perfect for the crowd. And then you close the curtains. And then you're right back to arguing and all that. Guess what happens in that situation? Nothing. Because they only see the good parts. And we could have had that here. At least Laker fans could have. I know Alfred is happy. That's good for him. But this is the kind of loss that it's a regular season loss. But right now, my fingertips are like I'm grinding them a little harder. It's bothering me. It's like a fly in your ear. And I had 2 of these tonight. That's the bitch of this. I had 2 of these kind of games tonight. The Steelers had that game, and then their punter kicked it literally 4 yards.
Sorry,
4.
Joe.
If he kicks it 30 yards, the game's over. That was a free throw. Yeah, I know it was snowing out. 4 yards? Really? So yeah, it's sports. Sports can do this to you. This is what it is. This is what happens when you're invested in it 82 games a year. You're gonna nitpick. My only thing is I just, again, I haven't been paying it. I don't pay attention to the social media thing as much. But seriously, if people are starting to dog on Austin Reeves, you are stupid. Then you should be called stupid in front of your face, in front of everybody you know. Your parents, your mammy, your daddy, your grandparents, your teachers, your boss, all of them. Because you are. You don't have a clue about what you're watching. You act like, I don't even want to insult little girls anymore. You know, I used to be the tagline, stop acting like a little girl, stop crying like a little girl. No, this is a whole new genre of just beta males that are just sitting there with their little computers, not having somebody slap them in the face for being complete and utter douchebags. The Lakers lost tonight because AD couldn't hit a free throw. Period. It is what it is. It happens.
John, I want to ask you this. I'll get back to D'Lo one last time. I know Bag and Dragon on Twitch. Appreciate all the help he's been giving us on there, checking up on some of the stats and questions. Like he got his games 0 and how many 0-point games he's had so far this season. This is the worst year for D'Angelo Russell, shooting-wise, scoring-wise. It's been a train wreck for D'Angelo. And he's never been really, I guess, out front as far as why. Is it something mental, something physical, something hurting? He's just not been up front with anybody, with the press or anybody out there, why it's gone so wrong this season so far. I mean, what do you do? What do you say to him? I mean, if you're JJ Redick, he said after the game he's going to a dark place to review film, to look at the plays, to look at what happened as far as the game film is concerned. I mean, it's abundant to see that of the many Lakers issues that they have that rear their ugly head in games like these, execution down the stretch is one, but having D'Angelo really, really not playing to the level he once did just a few months ago is another.
Yes. And sorry, I thought I was on mute. But yes, honestly, Gerald, D'Angelo Russell, that's how it makes me feel, Gerald. You see how I just took a deep breath like that? I feel like that's all you can say. That's all you can say. This is not only his, I'm going to butcher this word, statistically, or statistic, whatever, his worst season, but it also, when you eye test, it's the worst season. The one thing that I always talked about with D'Lo was how he could play make for others. Like, and he did that he does that in glimpses. He's been doing that in glimpses this season, but I know the potential he has to do that because he was doing that at full scale last season after the whole trade talks, but he hasn't been doing that. So, man, like I said, I just want to get him off for something that we can get solid in return to keep the playmaking. But shoot, once LeBron goes, he can go too if they want.
How can we petition for all of our? Again, you can't do any worse than what the Donuts game is giving us. But Joe, let me get it back to you, and then I'll get it back to you, Alfred. Actually, no, I think it was Joe. Okay, now Alfred, you're first. I'm sorry, my friend. Yeah, I forgot my mix-ups there as far as everything rotating. It is once again the Lakers fast break. Lakers lose 119 to 118. Alfred, again for your team, the Orlando Magic, which you covered quite a bit of for years and was writing about for years. This kind of win gives them confidence, and in an Eastern Conference where if they can just stay above 500, can get them really a nice buffer, and they can pretty much coast to a 4 seed, even without Boncaro.
Yeah, they can. And I mean, the road record really has been kind of the eyesore for this team, and it still is even after tonight. But it's just, those wins on the road last year, that was the difference between a 5 seed and a 4 seed in that series with Cleveland. And you saw how that turned out. The home team won every game and it went to 7 games. So it was huge in that respect. And I'm sure this team realized that, and they don't want to let that happen again. The road record as of right now is 3-7 after tonight. That's not good, but you got to take what you can get. And, taking 2 of 3 in this Phoenix back-to-back LA road trip is very good. And it's what you want to see. So you head out of this road trip with 2 more road wins than you had before in some tough places to play. I mean, they're playing a Phoenix team that was battered, but you're going across the country for that. These are in the other corner of the United States away from them. And like you said, they're still, I'm looking at ESPN right now, they're still in 4th behind the Knicks, who are 9-6, but right there in the mix. They're the same amount of games behind, as the Knicks are. So this team, they have to realize, even without Paolo Banchero, they are still in position to take a top 6 spot, top 1 through 6 spot in the playoffs for the Eastern Conference. And Gerald, I'm with you. They can get a home court advantage heading into the first round pretty soundly. It's not, and you're not asking them to do what the Celtics or Cavs are doing. If they do that, great, more power to them. But you're not even asking them to do that. Just be the team to be there, at the 3rd or 4th spot, and to have the home court advantage in your favor. So that way, when you have, your great home court that you've had for the past year and going on into this year, as you're still undefeated at home, you have that advantage heading into the playoffs. Granted, we're talking about this prior to Thanksgiving, so all that, isn't really coming into effect at this moment, but it's just indicative, like you said, of what you could see from them going forward. And a win like this is huge because going down the stretch, again, you need all the road wins you can get. So this, road win against the Lakers in a 1-point great game doesn't seem like much, in the grand scheme of things, but going down the stretch, it could mean a whole lot. So it's huge because, again, we have the Magic have the advantage of playing in a conference that's just not to the level of the Western Conference. That's just how it turns out for them. And that could pay dividends with wins like what they got, tonight against LA and a couple games back against the Suns. You know what I mean? So it's huge. And if they could keep the ball rolling and end up with a better road record than they had last year, who knows where they'll end up by the end of the year.
I'm just gonna sip. I'm just gonna sip my tea because I do have a tweet and I do have a clip from my episode on Clutch Talk. At the beginning of the season, I said that the Orlando Magic are going to finish as a top 3 seed in the East, and I'm gonna stand on it. And this is without their best player. Come on now.
Mm-hmm. Their hands down best player.
Franz Wagner has been stepping up. I think he took a lot as far as his terrible performance against the Cleveland Cavaliers in the playoffs, where he was absolutely putrid shooting. You and I discussed this, Alfred. I think he really took that to heart, and he was struggling to start the season. But once Boncaro got injured, he has, I guess, I'm sure that he and Mosley, they had a conversation about how you need to lead this team, and he's doing just that. So, Joe, one of the things I wanted to ask you was something that JJ Redick said before the game, was that when Rui Hashimura comes back, most likely Dalton Connect will be going back to the bench. It's something where, again, another solid game for him, 17 points. This kid is playing about as well as any rookie that's out there. And yet JJ has talked about, again, just like for all the good things that JJ has done, the little things kind of irk me sometimes with him, like not even acknowledging Olivari's great start in the G League oh yeah, I haven't really had time to think about him, or just I really have paraphrasing, but haven't really thought much about Olivari. And then you see Connect do so well, shoot the lights out, remind people in many ways of a lights out shooter like JJ Redick was at times. And JJ Redick automatically is like, okay, well, when Rui comes back, it's the veteran, needs to get a spot, can't lose it because of injury. So we're going to get him back in the lineup. And Dalton, it's up to the coaching staff, Joe, according to, again, his words. It's up to the coaching staff to find more minutes for Dalton.
Is that really the reason? Is that something he said, that the player doesn't lose his spot
No,
due to injury?
he didn't say that specifically, but coaches have often used that mentality. It's been paraphrased and said before that often the veterans are not supposed to lose their spot because of injury.
Yeah, that's one of the dumbest myths in sports. Ask Tommy Maddox that in 2004. Ask Drew Bledsoe that in 2001. That doesn't exist.
I didn't say I agree with it.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying that's a fallacy that just kind of still lingers in sports. I don't know what that is.
Remember, he's a player, so he still often thinks like
this is a results business. Also, Dak Prescott, since we were talking about the Cowboys before.
Yes.
Tony Romo got hurt. Dak Prescott balled out. We never heard of Tony Romo again, right? Listen, a shooter is better to come off the bench versus a starter who can't shoot. So he's probably putting Rui in as a starter, not because he's a veteran. I don't think JJ gives a two shits about that. I think because Rui might play better with the starters, and then you have Dalton coming in from a bench that is shit, and at least he'll give them some productivity.
But we saw this rodeo before, Joe, with Dalton coming off the bench, and they didn't find ways to get him involved and get him in a rhythm while he was coming off the bench.
Well, maybe they put him into a more of a Manu Ginobili role where he's like a sixth starter. They have to do something off the bench. This team cannot continue to score 120 points and they only get 14 from the bench. If D'Lo is going to suck ass and Gabe is going to suck bigger ass, and then you have Max Christie who's running back and forth and makes a couple shots a game, what the hell else is he going to do? I have had no problem with JJ Redick's coaching this year, and I don't think we're going to have a problem with his coaching. He's absolutely killing it, in my opinion. The issue is he's got too many butter knives on this team. Matter of fact, it's not even butter knives. It's those used knives from like a hometown buffet that they never changed out from 20 years ago. It's bad. Like Gabe Vincent was an MLE signing. He's not scoring a point in a 48-minute game over and over again. What is he supposed to do? Put fairy dust on him? Turn him into a genie? I don't know what. There's nothing there. And Reddish, he'll make one shot too, done. It's not, and role players kind of do that anyways. But it's like 6 of them. There's like 6 players on this team that are not good at all. So what else can he do? What else? LeBron has got to make great shots. AD's got to do what he does. Connect, a rookie, he has to, all of a sudden now he has to start. AR has one bad game. All of a sudden everybody wants to throw him into the snake pit. What else? D'Lo is probably the one I get more frustrated with than anybody because this dumbass is talented. This guy is freaking talented. He
was an all-star.
He broke a record for the Lakers. The Lakers have been around for how long? 17 championships. You can put an all-time team just with Laker players, right? Look, he can't make a shot to save his life. They need that guy making shots because he's terrible on defense. How is JJ Redick going to have these guys make shots when they're wide open? He can't. You couldn't even blame Darvin Ham for that. You can't blame JJ Redick for AD missing free throws. And here's the other thing here. I'm going to put a button on this. What we're talking about right now is wasted air. If AD hits one more free throw, we're sitting here painting our houses and putting flowers everywhere and going, yay, we're 7 games in. One free throw. changed the entire narrative of tonight's show. Now it's fire and brimstone. Does this team really change? Does Gabe Vincent sucking ass really change if AD hits a free throw and we win? No. There's a lingering issue with the Lakers. It's not going to go away whether they win tonight or not. And there's really no fix unless a miracle happens. I'm going to use that word more. Miracle. Rob is going to need a miracle trade to get something else in here of substance. Otherwise, LeBron and AD are going to have to turn into Supermen for 4 series in the playoffs. And I don't think you can put that kind of weight on those guys at this point in their career.
Once again, it is the Lakers, unfortunately losing 119 to 118. They fall to 10-5 on the season. They're in 4th place in the Western Conference. John Robert is asking another great question. Always great to have him here in the chat. Asking Alfred, Joe, and Gerald, are you more or less confident than the Lakers will beat Denver on Saturday? I'm more confident because they won't take Denver lightly, who will most likely be without Jokic.
Yes. My boy Robert, what's going on? Appreciate you asking a question. And yes, I agree with Robert. Actually, I actually say this one thing to my friends a lot, and I'm not saying that teams do not lose games back to back in the NBA. It's not what I'm saying, but I'm just saying, like, if you tend to pay attention, like NBA players, a lot of those guys are real sickos. Like when they lose, they are so damn locked in the next game to do whatever they did wrong, make sure they get it right. And 9 times out of 10, that them being so locked in leads to them winning. Now, it's not every time. It is not. You guys can go ahead and pull up tons of times that teams have lost back to back. Yes, I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying that the greats, and especially you know who, he does not take losing lightly at all. At all. He does not take losing lightly. I guarantee to you, he's having a good talk with Anthony Davis. He might not. No, it was a goat. It was a goat. Maybe I'm not a good impersonator. Maybe I need to hit up Gerald and.
I think you meant to say, "Hey."
That sounds like ham. Don't give me.
Sounds like a goat. You ever
Don't
goats?
I honestly have not been around goats much.
You ever watch the Komodo dragon eating a goat? That's what it sounds like.
I've never seen that. I've never seen that. Okay, anywho. Okay, well, if I did cheat, sorry, Lakers. Sorry, LeBron, if I did cheat. I meant goat. All right, anywho, guys. It's anywho. Is it? I would say anywho. Anyway, you guys, Joey took the words out of my mouth, man.
Sorry, I had to do it. I just had to do it.
Okay. Yeah. Joe, I guess in 5 minutes to start up the nightcap.
Yeah, I gotta go get a drink.
You go get a drink.
This is just Topo Chico and some flavoring.
All right, but I will keep it on the air.
That's not safe.
It is the Lakers losing 119 to 118. Joe, I took you off screen, so you can go ahead and get that drink for you on that. So, Alfred, let me bring it back to you. Are you gonna go get the drink or what? I don't know. You tell me. There he goes. All right. So let me ask you this. Yeah, he's just playing games. I'm gonna not deal with him. Alfred, I want to ask you this again before we head out. Orlando obviously riding high off tonight's win. They can utilize this going forward. This does give them a little bit buffer as far as being able to go ahead and obviously keep the flowing while Banchero's out of the lineup. Where do you see this team at when everyone gets right and healthy at some point in time this season?
I see them, like we've been talking about at the top of the East, if they can continue. I think Franz Wagner, the way he played tonight, I think signs are really, really, really starting to point toward him being an Eastern Conference All-Star just as of right now. That can obviously change. There's a lot of time between now and then. But if we had to stop today, I think he has a fair enough shot to get into that conversation. When you have that and you add Paulo Banchero to the equation, it's a pretty good duo to have in your arsenal. And I think Magic fans should be excited about that. I think that's something you can look forward to. Just in the near future, I think something Magic fans can be really excited about is their schedule. The next 5 games they have tomorrow, or I guess, if we're on my Eastern Coast time today, they have Detroit at home on Saturday. So I meant to say, sorry if I mixed up there. Today on my time, they have the day off. Tomorrow, Saturday, they have Detroit at home. They go on the road to play Charlotte. They have Chicago at home, and then Brooklyn twice. So it's a pretty good schedule and a pretty good reward after the road trip you took. I would think even with the players the Magic have right now that they should be able to handle those. One would think KCP was out for personal matters tonight. One would think he'd be back over that stretch. Wendell Carter could be back. Probably not getting Banchero back, but Paul Banchero did say he wanted to be back by Christmas. So we'll see if that comes into fruition. And that's early enough to where, if this team is still sitting in that top 6 in the East, they can really start to make noise again. And I think that's huge for this team. It's massive. Wins like this are only going to help you. And their first game against Boston is actually right before Christmas, December 23rd. So possibly if Paulo Banchero says he wants to come back before Christmas, maybe he's eyeing that December 23rd day against the Celtics right before. That would be a pretty good comeback game for him to be in, just because I don't think this team is fit enough right now to beat that Celtics team with the people they have. But I mean, if you're a Magic fan, you're sitting pretty. You got to like where you're at. You have an easy schedule in the near future, and who knows, go on another winning streak again. Why not?
So that it is the Lakers losing 119-118. John, I'm going to go ahead and get it to you before we go to the nightcap with Joe Soro. I want to go ahead before we make sure we get to plug for you as well. Make sure you follow Alfred Esmond at Alfred Esmond on Twitter. And I'm going to make sure before we head out, you give another cheap plug, Alfred, as well, before we get into the nightcap. John, before we head out, again, I think when it comes right down to it, people are asking why Joe is still chipper, even after his Steelers and the Lakers lost. In the case of the Lakers, it's 15 games down to 30. As far as the 30, we said, in fact, it started in the offseason when Rob Pelinka said, I'm going to evaluate this team off of its first 30 games. So we're halfway through that point. 10-5, regardless of the tough loss tonight, is much better than most of us predicted and most of us thought the Lakers would be, John.
Yeah. This is a much better start than not only what we had last year, but just much better start than what I even expected, to be honest with you. What I really thought, in my opinion, was we were going to have a rough start because, it was going to be JJ figuring it out. It's going to be the team putting it together. But, I mean, JJ picked up on it very fast. Our team messed quicker than I even thought, to be honest with you. But with all that being said, as Lakers fans, we know what matters, baby. It's holding up that Larry O.B. And you know what? We're far from it, guys. We are far from it. But I'm not going to hang my head on the L like this. Like I said, and this is the way I'll finish it up here, man. We had a lot of mistakes, like every team does every game. But this game came down to 2 things. 1, free throws. And 2, good defense, better offense. With that being said, if you guys want to follow me, check out more of my stuff. Lakers Corner and Clutch Talk. Lakers Corner is on YouTube. Clutch Talk is also on YouTube. Clutch Talk on Instagram is at Clutch Talk Pod. Lakers Corner is Lakers_corner. I appreciate you guys, and I'm out of here, man. Alfred, I'm gonna follow you, brother. I don't use Twitter much, but I'm gonna follow you right now, brother.
Thank you. I'll follow you back.
What is it?
It's coming
Just
up
my
right
name.
now.
Yeah, just my name. Follow me on Twitter, guys. Alfred Esmond. That's simple, easy to find. I'm just posting like I've when I've been on here recently. I'm working with World Baseball Network. We're covering mainly international baseball. I do a lot of college baseball stuff, but with Premier 12 happening over in Tokyo, Japan, doing a lot of work with that. Social media work for me mostly, just because we have guys over there who are doing the writing stuff for the most part. But if you're a baseball freak like myself, be sure to go over and check that stuff out. MLB awards were given out. Congrats to Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge on MVPs. We're doing some work with those guys. And then obviously Cy Young's Rookie of the Years as well. Those were given out in the past few days. So great stuff. But that's really what I've been working on. So just a lot of baseball stuff. And then this NBA fandom on the side based on my writing past with Orlando Magic Daily, just keeping up with them just because I wrote about them in the NBA as a whole. So just be sure to, look me up on Twitter. I repost a bunch of baseball stuff from around the world. And yeah, happy to be back on anytime. What a great game tonight. I think the next game between the Lakers and the Magic is March 24th. So we have some time between now and then when they come to
You
Central
better
Florida.
come back before then. I told you that earlier.
I will be back before then. That's too big of a gap. Way too big of a gap. The numbers we put up in the pregame, Gerald, they're telling me time to come back. So
over 100.
So yeah. So we're gonna have to. I'll have to come back before then, but I'll just be on talking about NBA stuff, Lakers stuff, whatever you guys need. And again, thank you for having me tonight. It was wonderful, and can't wait to be back.
Well, if you want to stay, you can stay, John. You know you can always stay as well because it is the Lakers losing 119-118. We'll be back tomorrow for lunch. Lunch with Stone Hansen coming up at high noon Pacific time. But yeah, if Alfred, John, you want to stay for a drink, a nightcap, go right ahead because right now it is Lakers Nightcap with Joe Soro.
Oh, hi, Alfred. Welcome to welcome myself and the crowd to the Lakers Nightcap, or Lakers Fast Break Nightcap with Joe Soro. And tonight I have my dependable vodka on the rocks. It isn't a celebratory evening, but it does kind of go down easy.
I want to just say, Jeremy Alfred actually has been on the show several times in the past year. He used to write for Orlando Magic Daily. So he was, when we were last year, I think it was early 2020. No, it was mid 2023 when we started reaching out to experts all around the world to cover covers every single NBA team. We met him and he bonded with the show quickly. He is in the chat every now and then. He's been incredible. He lives on the East Coast. So that's why he had to bow out. But yeah, Jeremy, he has been a great part of what we do. He comes on every 2-3 weeks. And check out our NBA observation shows when he's usually on those with us, providing thoughts on the entire league as a whole, because he follows the NBA, like he said, even though he still works hard working on the baseball league. So yes, he has been a great part of what we do on NBA Observations. So if you see an NBA Observations with Alfred Esmond on it, go out of your way to see it because he really knows the stuff. Go ahead, Joe. I wanted to just get that in there.
Very nice. Yes, we're having a few drinks here tonight, and I am going to start discussing a little bit more on the Lakers' strategy here in the next few games. My worry this week was more kind of catered to the fact that they're going to be playing Denver and then having to go to Phoenix. Durant's still out, so I know that the more I realize with the schedule with the NBA, it's like every star out. The Lakers are like the only team that doesn't have their stars out other than Boston, right? But these kind of games, when you have it right there, man, it really weighs on you. Not because they're not. It's not if the Lakers were the Celtics, let's say, it probably wouldn't hurt as much. But the Lakers are in that kind of sensitive area right now where every win matters because you have to start getting ready for what's coming. So the more wins they have, the easier it is to deal with things. And I was talking about this during the first quarter of the Orlando game tonight. I said, I didn't like the pace of the game. It didn't feel right. Sometimes you get a feel during the game on kind of what's good, what's bad. I said the Lakers need to get up like by double digits to at least be able to weather whatever comes. And it in a weird way, even though they had pretty much every chance to win this thing at the end, it ended up being what I feared it would be, which was a loss that should have been a win. Joe is drinking double tonight. Yeah, I mean, I put a good amount in here. You know, the ice melts pretty quick, so it kind of waters it down, and it doesn't hit as much before bed. And I only drink because you guys are here. I don't do these things when I'm by myself. But yeah, it's a bummer. It really is. I would have much rather have seen a win here, obviously, because I know that there's gonna be a time here, folks, where the Lakers are gonna have to play teams with the full arsenal of their players, and they are gonna go on the road here in about 10 days for a very long time. They're going to go to Utah, Minnesota, Miami, Atlanta, and then they got to come home for Portland before the tournament. The tournament finishing, I'm assuming. I think that's the date when the tournament is. The tournament. And then they got to come back after Portland's game on the 19th, and they got to go Sacramento back to back, and then Detroit before the Christmas game with Golden State. So these kind of games, when you have them right there, it's like right there. Yeah, it was tough, Blood. I thought the Steelers were going to lose the game after Cleveland scored that touchdown and went up 18-6. Then they made a hell of a comeback, ended up going up 19-18, and had all the momentum. All they had to do was, even in the punt that they had to execute, didn't go very well, and I think in the end that's what cost them. It's almost like identical games. It was almost identical games, although I have to blame Mike Tomlin for his management of timeouts again. He is so bad at managing timeouts in the second half of football games. It's mind-boggling to me. He had made a decision initially of not accepting one of the penalties that would have made it 4th and 2, and didn't matter anyways. They ended up getting the first down with 3rd and 7. And I thought that was a horrible call or a horrible reverse, because 4th and 2 a lot of times it's harder than 3rd and 7, because you knew they were gonna probably go for it on 4th down, being where they were, because the conditions were so bad they weren't likely going to kick a field goal. Why would you give them another down, even if they hadn't gotten that first down? So yeah, Mike Tomlin has been on my list of just kind of not good list for a long time, and he seems to kind of dodge things here and there because he happens to win enough to where you're like, oh, Tomlin's really, really good. But the reality is, guys, I've watched every Mike Tomlin coached game. He's not good. He's a very average coach. Doesn't have a good feel for the game. It was a lot like Roberts up until this year. Very, very, very Roberts-like. And I wasn't surprised when Dave Roberts kind of got out of his shell a little bit this year, because rumors were starting to come out. Articles were starting to get leaked that this might be his final year. And of course, as soon as he wins, all the jackasses who don't watch the games like we do, see, you guys wanted to get rid of Roberts. And I'm just like, oh, slow your roll. Slow your roll. Roberts had probably the best run in terms of management this playoff run, in terms of his decision making. There's no doubt. But he was not doing that in the past. I think he was listening to the sheet a little too much. This last run, he didn't do that. He'd go to the mound and look at his players and go, all right, I'm going to let you stay a little bit. He had never done that before. He hadn't bunted to get scores or move runners ever that I can remember, at least in a moment like that. So you can be bad and then improve, which is what happened with him. Mike Tomlin, on the other hand, he's just not good at managing football games. He's terrible, terrible decision maker. Always seems to get it wrong when he does challenge a call. And tonight's game, there were a lot of other things that factored into it, but ultimately, he didn't give the Steelers a chance to kind of do something at the end there. If they had 3 timeouts with a minute left, 50 seconds left after they got the kick return, that's a whole different ballgame with 3 timeouts instead of 1, and that's just bad management. But as far as the Laker game tonight, when is the last time Pittsburgh beat the Browns, Joe? They've been losing to the Browns in Cleveland for some reason lately, and this was I think their 8th straight loss on Thursday on the road. But they usually win these games when they're at home. It's a bummer. But going back to the Laker game, yeah, it was an entertaining game when you look at it from an objective standpoint. I enjoyed watching LeBron do his thing, AD do his thing, Connect, obviously. Everyone else was just kind of not good. Guys like AR and Reddish, like usual. Gabe Vincent, like usual. Max Christie had a couple cool plays, but that's about it. But in the end, you have to make those free throws, and he makes one more. I think they win this game, and it sucks. It really sucks. It really sucks to lose like this, and at any time, just because why can't you just make a free throw? And this is a problem. AD's had this problem for a while. This isn't something that just happened tonight. He has missed free throws at the end of the games a lot. Sometimes they win, and a lot of times the ones that I remember that Philly comeback a couple years back. My God, man, just make a fucking free throw. Jesus Christ, you just made this amazing comeback, and you can't hit the free throws. So it just kind of sucks that when they lose, when they're just right there. Joe, can we discuss that last play by the Lakers? What was that play? I thought it was good defense by Reddish. It was just a great shot by Wagner. Nothing else he could do. If they double team him, they'll find the open player. He'll hit a 3, and then we're complaining about that. They could not have played better defense in that situation than they did. It's just that Franz hit the shot, falling away from 3. That's a bad shot in any sequence unless it goes in. So I didn't have a problem with their defense at the end on that. Should have never happened, though. Should have never happened. Yeah, Jameis was on skates all night. And for some reason, the Steelers could not get him. I don't know why. Maybe the Steelers were tired from – oh, and by the way, speaking of that, NFL, you suck ass putting the Steelers on a Thursday night game after they play a Ravens team on Sunday. You all know that team against the Ravens are killing each other in that game, and then you put them on Thursday. I thought that was bush league by the scheduling people. No, Joe, I meant the Lakers play. Oh, you mean the play to AD for the missed shot? I would not have given AD that shot. Absolutely not. I would have set up a play to where either Dalton or AR or LeBron could get the ball and shoot. AD had just proved that he can't hit a shot when it mattered. Why would you give him the ball to do a fadeaway front shot? Just not good. But we don't know what the play call on that was. Maybe it developed the way it did because Orlando played defense enough to where they kind of veered off that. LeBron is garbage. Why is he garbage? Sance. Are you just here to just talk shit? Stupid comment. Come on, you can do better than that. Final play drawn up to win, Joe. What was that play? A fadeaway from AD. Yuck. Yeah, Jeremy, that was terrible call. Terrible decision, probably by the inbounds player. Who was that, by the way? Was that Reeves or was that Connect? I can't remember. Can Dalton be closer for the Lake? He could be. But I think that's going to take a minute. I don't think that's going to be something that they can do right now. I mean, he could, but I think if they had enough time to get the ball with some space for LeBron, I think that would have been a better option. But what are you going to do? Well, I'd rather double Wagner than pass to someone who has lower. Yeah, everybody was hitting threes in this game, man. I don't think it would have mattered. Joe, which NBA team has the deepest roster right now? Not superstars, but down to the bench. Deepest roster. Probably Oklahoma City. I think Oklahoma City. Let's look at their lineup here. Oklahoma City roster. So you have Shea Gilgeous, you have Dort, you have Caruso, Holmgren when he's there, Isaiah Joe. Yeah, Jalen and Topic, and yeah, there. I'd say Oklahoma City has not only some stars, but they also have some depth there. So yes, I'd say Oklahoma City is the first one I can think of. Celtics are very, very top heavy, but they're very good. They don't have a lot on the bench, but they're so good from 1 to 5 that they make it all work. Yeah, Golden State could be another one too. Jeremy, it's a roll now. Let's see here. What else did you guys have? So he missed 3 straight free throws to end the game. He missed the first one on the one before the last 2. He missed the first one, made the second one, and then when he got the ball back, he missed 2 of those. So 3 out of the 4. Makes free throws, missed 9, game over. Celtics. Reeves was inbounding. I don't know why. 2.5 seconds left is not a lot of time, man. You need somebody that can really get space. And there's really no one on the team that can get space. If LeBron is so great, then let him show it. Can you spell LeBron right first, Sants? It's Lebron. Where are we here? Free throws were inexcusable. Yes, I look. This team has to figure out, and I'm not talking about the players, I'm talking about the team. This team has to figure out here in the next probably 20, 30 games on what exactly are they going to do with the rotations when it really, really, really matters. JJ's kind of figuring out who might work and who won't work. I think Max Christie played a lot of minutes there towards the end because I think he's desperate at this point. That's at this point because Gabe isn't giving him anything. D'Lo's not giving him anything. It's just one of those things where how do you figure that out? You can't. Is Gabe going to get out of his shell? Is D'Lo going to get out of his shell? See, D'Lo has a history of coming back and starts to play well. Last year was the second half of the year. It was right after the new year. Can that happen again? Will it happen again? I don't know. We have to hope it happens because I have no idea how they're going to get anything for him. I just don't know. And guys like Rui, this guy gets injured at the same time every year. I don't know what the hell these guys do getting injured every 5 minutes, but it's really putting a damper on this team and its depth. Let's see what else we got. Joe needs a good Subway sandwich and a cigar. I would exchange that, Hernan, for a Jersey Mike's. As far as commercial sandwiches are concerned, Jersey Mike's is my spot. However, if you all are ever in San Diego and you really want the greatest sandwich that's ever been made, what you want to do is you want to go to a place called Bub's. There's 2 spots, one in Pacific Beach, and the other is in downtown San Diego. It's called Bub's. It's a dive bar. The owner, I believe, is a huge Steeler and Virginia Tech fan. And they have a sandwich called the Archie. And I'm telling you guys right now, make sure you go there when you're very, very, very hungry so you can eat it. It's a very starchy sandwich on sourdough and melted cheese with chicken and mushrooms and probably the greatest sandwich sauce I've ever eaten. I don't know what the secret sauce is, but it's unbelievable. And then they serve it with tater tots. Absolutely the best sandwich you'll ever eat in your life. No doubt. So yeah, that would definitely go for a Bubs right now. If the Bubs was in town right now, I'd go get it right now. Thank God they're not here. Otherwise, I'd eat it probably every night. Joe's still on the lookout for a fish taco, mate. Yeah, man, guys, that's another thing. The place that you have to go to if you come to San Diego. Now, it's further south by the border. It's a place called TJ Oyster. Get the smoked tuna fish taco. Unreal. The best fish taco you'll ever eat as well. That's a good one, MM. You're lucky I'm letting you sit here. Jersey Mike cold cuts with a bathrobe and orange juice, some pulp. I think I know what you're talking about there. You're talking about old TS. That's a good one. All you fanboys are clowns. Yeah, but you can't spell LeBron right, so who's the clown now? JJ, so many on the coast. Out of 82 games, I'm there with you, Joe. These games happen. I'm not disappointed. Free throw happens. Just get better. They're gonna need some depth, man. They're gonna need some help. Somebody that they can bring in. That's kind of what I'm waiting on. I want to see what happens in the next few weeks when the trades can happen a little bit more freely after December 15th. I'm going to SD. Yeah, let me know. Let me know, Hernan. If you're going to SD, if I'm in Temecula, so I'm about 40 minutes away from SD. I do some work out there as well, so I can help you out there. I love Big Macs with no meat. You ever go to the drive-thru, Mark? I'll take a Big Mac with no meat. I actually had the Big Mac salad. My wife makes a Big Mac salad. You know, the cheese, the pickles, tomatoes, and all that. It's with the Thousand Island dressing. Phenomenal. It's amazing. It tastes so good. I sprinkle a little bit of jalapeno in there too. It makes it even better. So are we playing Denver tomorrow? No, we're playing Denver on. Let me look at the schedule here real quick. Sorry. Where are we here? Where did my schedule go? 1 second. We're playing Denver on Saturday. Yeah. Without Jokic. Can't believe how small it was. So, Ralph, there's a story about the Big Mac. I think I've said it on the show, but I'll say it again. So back in 1995, 95. That was my senior year, 95, 96. We used to go to McDonald's, or usually McDonald's was the spot after the games. And I remember there at the time they had just had the double Big Mac meal, with fries and a drink. And I remember I was looking at the Big Mac, and I'm like, "Does this look small to you?" And I was just talking to myself. My friends were there, and then I didn't think twice about it. Just kind of, this kind of looks small. Doesn't look like a Big Mac. So what happened was during that transition, during that little scam that they had, what they did is they made the Big Mac smaller for the twofer, and then when the deal finished, they left it that size. And I think there's pictures online of the difference between the 80s Big Mac and then now, and it's considerable. Stop talking about, let's see here, where are we? Stop talking about LeBron is so great if he's ducking situations like this when he's okay. Sets, your dialogue is getting stale. And we're not just I'm just not gonna pay attention to you at this point. You're not even spelling his name right. Joe, have you ever had a double Big Mac? Yeah, I've had a double Big Mac, but it's been, I think, 20 years since I've had one. I'm not a big fan of McDonald's, honestly, guys. I love the hot mustard sauce, though, and I'll eat nuggets as long as the hot mustard sauce is available. If I have nuggets without the hot mustard sauce, I can't eat the nuggets. I struggle with it. The barbecue sauce sucks. The sweet and sour sucks. Ranch sucks from McDonald's. Has to be the hot mustard sauce. Hot mustard sauce I can eat by itself. It's so good. I've asked McDonald's 100 times, hey, is there any way you guys can bottle this so I can take it home? Of course, they look at me like I'm a fucking idiot, and you know how that goes. So yeah, double Big Mac, had it years ago, but I haven't had it since. I haven't had a Whopper in probably a decade. Haven't had Jumbo Jack from Jack in the Box in a while. There was a bad experience with that one time, so I stayed away from that. What I do love is I love the number 6 at Wendy's, the spicy chicken. That's great. That's one of my go-tos. When I need to it, of course, In-N-Out Burger is always a staple in our world.
BD says it's for him the Popeye's sweet heat sauce. But I also want to point out something, Kenneth Stone. So you don't get supersize anymore. It does, I guess not, Jeremy. But I wanted to point out something that Kenneth was asking you. I don't know if you saw it or not. He said, "What position player do we need the most to get? What position / player type do you think the Lakers need the most to get to the finals?"
Wait, what was the question?
What position / player type do you think the Lakers need most to get to the finals?
Sorry, I was typing. Say that one more time.
What position / player type do you think the Lakers need most to get to the finals?
Score. They need a score. If Koloko is back, Christian Wood is back, and Jackson Hayes are playing, you might be able to get away with not having a true backup for LeBron, for AD, or at least someone that could stand next to him. So this team needs a score. This team needs someone that can score when LeBron and AD are not in there, because they don't have anybody else. Dalton Connect needs to be in a position to score. Typically, AR has the ability to get to the basket, draw a foul, and make shots and all that, but it's a struggle. We need someone that can score at any point on that court, at any point, and can do it when LeBron's not on the court, as well as at least, or one of those guys are not on the court. That would go a long way in helping the Lakers create a little bit more fear towards teams, because now you can't really focus on AD and LeBron as scorers and hope that the other guys can just kind of miss if that's your only defense that you can depend on. Which, there's a chance that guys like AR and Gabe and all those guys are not going to make the shot, and that sucks. Joe and G will be coming to will be on come during. Yes. Where are we here? What else? What are the questions you guys have here? Lakers need length and defense. Yeah, length and defense is, I mean, that's any team. But you don't find those guys. You don't find 3D guys just hanging around. Those guys are rare. And there's very few of those guys out there anyways. Would you trade for Lillard? Oof. First of all, we can't get him. He makes too much money.
Yeah.
And the defense would get worse. Lillard has checked out on defense, and it's been there for a while. 2 more weeks of college football, Joe. Then we do our college football playoff podcast. This is going to be a fun one. This is going to be the first 12-team. This is going to be the first 12-team playoff in college football history.
Still think it should be more to make it even more fun. Get rid of the bowl system, man.
Should have been 8. Should have been 8. 12
should be more. No, because these bowls, man, these bowl games absolutely suck.
Kenneth, I actually thought about that. I actually was supporting that, but it would have to come with some legit contingencies, which it would have to be an honor system situation where Rob and JJ would have to sit down with Zion if they were able to make it work and say, listen, we need you to drop 50 pounds. Hell, you might even need you to drop 60, because I still don't believe that guy's under 300 pounds. There's no freaking way that guy's under 300 pounds. Even at training camp when he looked skinny. No. He needs to get down to 240, 250. He needs to get down to Charles Barkley weight when he was winning the MVP. If he does that, I would definitely because imagine, guys, there's a stat out there that says for every pound you have, that's 3.5, and some have said 4 pounds of force on your knees. And imagine now you're playing basketball on a hardwood floor 82 games. Well, he's not playing 82 games during the year, but let's just say 60 times even throughout the year if he's lucky. That's a lot of pressure on those legs. It's a lot of pressure on the knees, a lot of pressure on the ankles, a lot of pressure on the calves, the hamstrings, groins, and of course, it doesn't look like he's got a really tight diet. So you're playing with your health and you're playing with your longevity when you do that. So Zion coming to LA. If I'm sitting there talking to him and his agent, I'm like, I'm going straight Godfather Pat Riley on him. I'm like, you have to drop 60 pounds. You got to convince me in this meeting that you're going to do this. And then you got to be able to be a good poker player at that point. You got to be able to know if he's going to do it. But that's a hell of a chance if you do. Well, I guess it's not really that big of a chance if that's all you got. Beggars can't be choosers, because I've had friends of mine that say, I can't do that. Or I'm like, well, what other choice do you have? So I don't know. I don't know what New Orleans is going to do, but they're kind of in purgatory as well. We'll see. We'll get a chance to see if anything like that happens. Where are we here? You know what's so funny? Kenneth hit us up tonight. I was thinking about him yesterday. I'm like, where the hell's Kenneth?
Remember, you guys were at odds every single time. Then he came on the show after a while, and then you converted him into a Joe fan.
Well, most people think there's an alternative reason on why I'm critical of LeBron James. And I don't know why.
It was good to see, but you guys actually talked it out and had a good discourse.
My issue with LeBron James is always off the court. It's not about what he does on the court. Even his passing to the right guy went away. He even solved that. He should have got the ball today at the end. I think he should have got the ball. I would have rather had him do a turnaround jumper than AD. Let's see. Great show, guys. Hit the likes. Tap that arse. That's good. Zion was supposed to be the LeBron rebirth. My goodness, the media attention he had from 8th grade until the NBA. I didn't compare him to LeBron. I think what they did with LeBron and him is that he was a for sure star, which, yeah, there was that. I mean, you don't see guys that big that can jump out the building like he does. He's bigger than LeBron too. But the issue with Zion is, number one, he went to New Orleans, which is terrible. And I don't think he takes basketball seriously. And that's not good. Joe was the Skip Bayless to me on LeBron until I understood we shared the same expectations. That was probably the biggest insult out of that whole thing, being compared to that numbnuts. I can't stand Skip Bayless. I can't stand Nick Wright. I used to really like Colin Cowherd until he started smelling his own butt too much, and it just got exhausting listening to him. The standard, I can't believe I'm saying this because that's a Mike Tomlin thing. The standard is the standard in LA, and that is being about the Lakers, being about championships, and also representing the culture of LA. And LeBron isn't LA. He really isn't. I mean, maybe he is a little bit now, but he's a LeBron. He's LeBron. He's about LeBron. And most of the great players or players in general are going to be about themselves. But there's also a representation that oozes off of guys that have played for certain organizations. When you look at someone like Tim Duncan, he personified that San Antonio team, the culture of the city. You know, kind of San Antonio isn't known as a big city, right? It's kind of low market, it's quiet. That's what Tim Duncan was. Manu Ginobili was like that. You look at someone like, let's say, looking back when the reason why the Boston Laker thing in the 80s was so popular was you had Larry Bird, who was the lunch pail guy in Boston, and that's what they prided themselves in. Magic played in LA, where it was a show and showman and showtime. Those storylines matter. People like storylines, and that's part of the entertainment. LeBron was a kid from Akron coming to LA. Yeah, LeBron is one of the more popular athletes on the planet, but he was really never LA. And LA kind of told him that when they were starting to draw murals and all that. It wasn't really LA. And the funny thing about that too is you look at someone like Freddie Freeman, who's very mild mannered and just absolutely just a great guy. He's not LA either from a personality standpoint. However, I call him Iron Man because the guy plays through everything. And we didn't find out until after the World Series. The guy was playing with a broken rib and he was getting shot every 25 minutes. That is LA. Kobe was LA. Why? Kobe was trying to play 82 games a year every year. That's the definition of LA in terms of the hardworking LA. We're here to work, and be the best, even with all the flash. So again, I've been very happy with LeBron's game this year. Pretty phenomenal, actually. The more he keeps playing like this, the more the denial becomes an issue. You can't deny the fact that this guy is doing something that's not never even close to being done. So, and I'm glad it's happening with the Lakers. I just hope they can learn from tonight's loss and be able to harness a win here against Denver on Saturday and get ready for what's going to be kind of a gauntlet here at the beginning of December. I think December is likely going to be the identifier on what this team's going to be for the rest of the season.
Hey, Eli, great to have you back here, my friend. When is Durant due back? Because I know you guys have been struggling without him. Let me know when you get a chance to chat, because I don't know an ETA on when he's coming back. BD says a jump that could help us getting Lindy Waters 3. I don't think I think he's starting now because of the injury to DeAnthony Melton. So I don't think Golden State is giving him up easy, BD. I think if anything, he's going to be available as part of a bulk trade for a star player because they still have quite a deep roster at Golden State, and them leading the Western Conference right now. If they feel they need to make an upgrade for like a Giannis or another star player, I bet he gets packaged in that deal. Jeremy says, let's like the videos, guys, and sub if you haven't already. Yes, if you haven't, please like and subscribe. Could really use the help as we get closer to 2,000. Just 90 away, Joe. 90 away from 2,000. Definitely.
Very nice.
This loss felt like 2, Joe and G. Why?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, JY. It you know how when something really dumb happens or bad and you get that like smirk, like you're like, that's how this game felt. That's how this game feels right now. And if they had lost on a last second shot because they're going back and forth, okay, you'll take it. But the game was over. They just hit free throws, the game's over. And that's the burner in this. Burner because the Lakers can't really relinquish wins at this point. They have been fortunate, absolutely fortunate to play teams without their stars. It's been like 2 weeks. Have they played anyone lately with their stars playing? They're not even going to play against Jokic on Saturday.
We think.
And they have to take advantage of that, man. There's no other way to look at it.
That's Phoenix. Why this game hurts.
Yeah, and then Phoenix. Durant's probably not going to be there Tuesday, right?
Actually, yeah, Eli said that with Phoenix. Yeah, evaluating him in another 2 weeks. So
yeah. So you're playing. It just. I guess you can make up for this by making a nice run in December because I have a pretty good feeling that. Yeah, they're not even playing against Chet on next Friday against Oklahoma City. Yeah, it's crazy how they're avoiding so many of these teams where their main guys are not playing.
They did get Hartenstein back though.
He's good, but I'm talking the stars.
Well, just the rebounding issue. That's
another thing too. The rebounding thing is never going to get solved unless the Lakers get some bigs that can kind of focus on that. But that's not going to get fixed. The Lakers are going to have to play through that. Otherwise, court balance is off, and they're not going to be able to get out and run. If they're just crowding the basket, they're going to be running more half-court sets at that point, and the Lakers don't do very well when they do that. Gerald and Joe, y'all should be bigger. Too many so-called Laker channels are LeBron or all against LeBron. Not much Lakers. Keep plugging, fellas. Jay, that's an interesting point. The reason why we're not as big. Go ahead, Gerald.
We should be bigger, and I truly appreciate that's very kind words. Thank you, Jay. Go ahead, Joe. Yes.
Well, the reason why
that was really nice compliment. That came out of nowhere.
Thank you, Jay. The reason why we're not bigger is because we're not doing that. That's the irony in this. However,
we're not caving into the every single email I get regarding, I can help you with your channel. We can increase your SEOs. Just if you pay us a certain amount, we can get you thousands of viewers and thousands of subscribers.
So I'll give you an example.
And I get it every day, guys, by the way, on all my emails and social media.
You have skanks all over YouTube talking about trash just because they're good looking and they're talking about some schlong, and they'll get a bunch of reviews. Anybody
remember when Kubro didn't know what that word was?
Yeah. And I think the funny part about that was too is that it blocked schlong, but it didn't block the F word
on playback. By the way,
I had to put a 0 on the O instead of so it could show it. I thought that was funnier actually, but. Jay, the selling out, the low-hanging fruit type garbage, they get the views, they get all that stuff. Just like that monstrosity of an event, all these idiots buying tickets to go watch a fixed boxing match and having to watch Mike Tyson's ass on TV. What the hell was that? That was just pure trash. I'm still mad at myself for watching the first 2.5 rounds. I was irritated that I actually wasted my time doing that. I just had to turn it off at that point. I knew it was fake before any of that stuff. That guy's fake. Those fights are all fake. And to see someone like Mike Tyson, who I thought growing up was, my God, that's another thing that people missed in this world. There's Mike Tyson, Bo Jackson, and Michael Jordan. For those of you who didn't watch those guys play in their prime, I feel bad for you guys. Absolute, the baddest human being in terms of sports you'll ever see in your life might actually be Mike Tyson. The aura that was around him. And to see him with assless shorts fighting some douchebag YouTube guy was a monstrosity. Absolutely pathetic. And
well, I couldn't watch it. It was loaded.
We don't want this show to be about the buzzword. I don't hate LeBron. I don't hate anyone unless you mess with kids in a bad way, mess with women, that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? I don't hate LeBron. I am happy he is a Laker, although sometimes he does frustrate me to where I don't want him to be a Laker because he gets very, very selfish. That's just what it is. It's not me. I'm not making LeBron say these things. I have a different view on certain things. And he does things that bother me off the court. Phenomenal on the court, though. I mean, he's starting to get to that point where there might not be anyone that's ever going to get close. And for us on this show, we discussed kind of our options on how this thing can be bigger. Well, it's going to get bigger by organically making it bigger. Joe Rogan, when he was doing his show, he wasn't getting anything for 5 years. People were making fun of him. His family members were making fun of him, like, hey, man, what the hell is this? He's just going online and talking to people. I know we're not Joe Rogan, but he organically became what he became at some point. It blew up. And we want to do that. I want us to organically get big. And then at some point, there's going to be a point of no return for anyone around us. They're going to look, these guys have it figured out. They have a stable fan base. It's organically done. There's no fakeness. There's no fake, stupid announcements. Are the Lakers going to get Joel Embiid. Ooh, package Joel Embiid on the highlight of everything on YouTube. That's garbage. That's garbage. I'm not gonna ever be a part of anything like that. This is a Lakers show. This is a Lakers show, and we know almost everything about this team, and we watch every single game. And we're gonna know if you're full of shit, whether it's the top-notch guys on ESPN, whether it's the guys on whatever sports station out there. And it's very easy to spot those schmucks, by the way. It's very easy. You can always tell because they'll start using generalities. Oh, well, I think they should shoot better because last night they only shot 47% from the free throw line, and they need to shoot better. Oh, really? They need to shoot better. Okay. If I'm there, let's say, I'm like, shoot better. What does that mean, shoot better? Did you not watch the defense play? Or are you watching this box score? It's easy to just look at the box score and determine what the hell's going on, right? Just like how you know 100% that someone is full of crap when they're like, I cannot believe that so-and-so got 45 free throw attempts and the other team got 16. Oh, you can't believe it. Really? So the team that was only getting 16 free throws, they shot 47 three-pointers. And the team that got 45, 46 free throw attempts, they only shot 18. Common sense. You could probably even read that from a box score. That's how you can get those people. And at the same time, when you call guys like that out, they don't like you. And if they have any pull, they're not going to want you in their circle. Right? People don't like to be corrected, even when they know they're wrong. That's called insecurity. That's called you're calling them out on who they are. People don't like to be told the truth. They say they want someone to tell them the truth. 90% of the time, it's utter, fresh piles of horse shit.
Ralph D is asking you if you got offered a front office spot at Lakers or ESPN, which one would you take?
Lakers.
Or would you take it all? Lakers?
Yeah, I don't belong at Disney.
Okay.
Lakers are my team, but there's a better chance that Disney would hire me over the Lakers, especially after what I've said about Jeannie and Rob.
You're kind of harsh on them.
Mm-hmm. However,
Much of it deserved.
I will give Jeannie credit. Recently, I think it's a brilliant idea putting Pat Riley next to the greats there. Just don't hire the same guy that made the Kobe statue, please. No DEI hires. Get a real artist and pay him real money and someone that knows how to fucking spell. For God's sakes. Really? You do all that work? You can't even spell the right damn words on the statue? Do better. Do better. Thoughts on Inside Crew? I thought that was kind of whack. I don't like it. They're essentially doing what they do in soccer. They're loaning inside the NBA to Disney.
All right. Well, it's been a good time. Joe, again, the Lakers 119 to 118. They lose. But tomorrow,
I gotta answer more questions. I'm curious what type of position Joe would want. Let's say if I was seasoned, I'd obviously want to be the player personnel guy. Yeah. I'd want to be in charge of being tight.
Vice VP of basketball operations.
I'd be in the gyms. I'd be watching. I'd hire Stone Hansen to be my lead scout. And we would be making sure that part of the business is tight. And then, of course, build a reputation in the industry as a staple in the industry. Being tight with the GMs, try to be the best Jerry West I can be. Try to be I'll never be Jerry West, but because that guy's got basketball in his soul from beginning to end. But I try to be as close to kind of a Jerry West as I can be. Yeah. Or I mean, you can even say Brad Stevens. Hell, Brad Stevens is killing it. Absolutely killing it. Sam Presti too. Any of those guys, I'd be ecstatic to be in that position.
Well, speaking of Stone, we're going to be hungry around noon, Joe, and have some lunch with Stone because it's a new show called Lunch with Stone Hansen coming up at high noon.
Looking forward to it. I think there's some opportunities there for us to do a show in the middle of the day. Tomorrow is a very one of the few Fridays where I can operate during the day without being distracted, and I'm looking forward to being on the show. Things could change though. Sometimes things come out of nowhere, but worst case scenario, I think I can probably get on mobile, but I'm going to try to make it on, get into my office here and be available to talk some stuff here. We're 15 games in, and kind of seeing where this team's going to be in the next 6 games, which would create 1/4 of the year. Are they going to be 15-7?
And that's the thing I want to leave on a positive note before I get to JSJ's question is you and I did not even think that they would be close to 10-5 after 15 games, halfway through to the number 30.
No, I thought this was going to be a terrible year. However, I think JJ Redick and the fact that you have AD and LeBron playing as well as they are, I guess we should have figured out a little bit that LeBron and AD are still on this team and they are going to continue to play as well as they do. However, I didn't know that. I didn't know. I had no backing. I think the only non-negative unknown, analysis we had was JJ Redick. I didn't know. I didn't know either way. Would it be good? Would it be bad? I initially actually thought, well, it's going to take a minute for people to get used to his setup, but it doesn't seem that way. It seems like they've bought in right away, and he's made it work. How it turns out when things get tougher, that's what we have to wait and see.
So the last question I'll go ahead and hit you up at before we head it out. JSJ said he had a theory that the reason why the Lakers don't want to fire Rob is that a new GM would blow the entire team up. If you're coming in there as a new GM, whichever individual comes in there to replace Rob, and if it does go south, then Rob might be on the hot seat, but right now he's looking pretty good. Any new GM is going to blow it up, Joe. That's always the case. They always come in and blow everything up.
Well, GMs want their own coach usually.
They want to make their own footprint on the team.
Right. However, I don't think that would have been the case in this situation. I think the GM would know that this guy just got hired and he looks like he's pretty good.
Yeah.
The reason why you'd hire a new GM is so that you can have someone who has the respect of the other GMs in the league, whom can communicate with them and also be able to manage talent. I think Rob would have been great as a GM possibly if he had a player personnel guy. But we're not going to know that. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that Jeannie doesn't want to have to answer anybody. She doesn't want what happened with Jerry West to happen. She doesn't want to deal with a bitch cup check. She doesn't want to deal with anybody. She wants everything to be easy. That's not how it works. Every great team has had issues. Every great team has the disconnect at some point somewhere. Bob Myers left the Golden State Warriors at some point. Jerry West left LA. Matt Riley left LA at some point. It's part of the gig. These things don't last. Doc Rivers finally got tired of Boston. Went to LA to coach the Clippers. Not in a bad way, but there was some friction there. So there's a shelf life for a lot of these positions. GM of an NBA basketball team, especially if they're successful, and also coaching. coaching on the average is usually what? If it's going well, what is it, 5 years? It is what it is. Now, I'd like to see if JJ can be here for 10 years. He's young enough and he's bright enough, and it looks like he knows what he's doing. But you're going to need someone in that front office that's going to be able to replenish this team when LeBron leaves.
Yeah, but we'll find out what happens.
I don't know if he's capable of that. So yes, I want to thank everyone for being here for the nightcap. Thank you for being here for the post game. I'm going to tell everyone my socials are Johnny Blade on Facebook. I've got Freddie Freeman on the replacement on the Statue of Liberty as the icon. So if you're looking for me there, that's me. You can direct message me if you want to talk about anything. If you want to hit me up on Instagram, it's sinblades_turf. That's more my business line, but you can still direct message me there and I'll talk to you. If you want to hit me up on X, Mark and I talk a lot on X primarily. I don't usually post a lot of stuff on X because X is a used shithole of a toilet, and I like to avoid it as much as I can, but you can still direct message me on there, and it's Joe Soro LFB. With that, we will be back tomorrow for Stone Hansen for lunch with Gerald Glassford and myself. And obviously on Saturday, we'll be back talking Lakers as they face the Denver Nuggets without Nikola Jokic. Hopefully we can come back and win this thing on Saturday, get back on the right track. Until then, thank you all for being here tonight. Sorry for the losses, but we try to pep it up as best we can. At least I tried to.
Now 10-5 still. I'll take it.
I'm going to go cry, though. I'm going to go cry on my couch as I watch the highlights. But till next time. Talk to you next time.